And I'll give you a bunch of tips and things of that nature. So first things first, water. In order to get healthy, in my opinion, you literally just need clean water. I mean, it's just a basic, it's a foundational thing. And I'll show you very easily how to do it. And what I mean by how to do it, most people would say, well, I have a water filter, that's good enough, right? Unfortunately not. You really want to always look at, you know, certain testing, all the different modalities. This is a carbon distiller, and I'm filling it with reverse osmosis water actually, so that I don't have to use the carbon part, and it keeps it really clean. But this is my distiller. That's the only way to clean your water fully, especially all the parasites and viruses and bacteria and all that kind of stuff. And this is the water that I distilled yesterday, or at least what's left over of it. So that's always my first tip. You gotta have clean water. There's just no other way, because there's too many things in our water, in my personal opinion. I could show you the lab reports that are darn right scary. Okay, so that's the first part. Hold on a second. And since I'm gonna run that carbon distiller again, I'm gonna put this to catch the water. That other one filling up. And while that's filling up, probably one of the other really easy things you can do, which I'm going to do right now. I'm not super crazy about a ton of products, but this one has really impressed me. So I'm going to take this right now on an empty stomach. Anybody who is dealing with any animals or potentially family with the big C word, well, C, you know, like, probably not the one that everybody thinks. There's multiple C words these days. I'll just say that there's some research that you can look at in regards to mushrooms and cancer. Now remember, I don't give you guys any medical advice. I don't make any medical claims, excuse me, I just woke up. And let's go put this, it's hard to carry with two hands, but I want you guys to see how this one works. This is filled with the water. Go. I'll just turn it on. It takes about 3 to 6 hours to clean 1 gallon of water, so if that tells you anything. Basically, to really properly filter water takes time, and it's so important for even children, actually more important for children than for adults. Now this is the other product. I already took my hydrogen water. I'm making my second batch. This is a product from hman.petclub247.com if you want to do it, but this is a Japanese extract from a mushroom. So it appears to be extremely good for your health, and potentially, like I said, no medical advice. I'm not making claims for or against any product or products, but just telling you that there appears to be some possible good attributes to this for cancer. There's probably gonna be more research coming out. There's already research on mushrooms. Potentially for things like that. Paul Stamets has done some really good work in that field. So I'm taking that empty stomach. I'll tell you one thing, if you want to just, again, health easily, clean water, hydrogen is like the biggest no-brainer I've ever seen, but if people want something cheap, some people like to just take pills. I'm really impressed with these guys. So, okay, moving on, gotta make breakfast. And you do not have to make the breakfast I make, obviously, but I'm gonna be making a vacuum smoothie today. You know, making a smoothie is pretty easy, but that's, people really, obviously everybody wants to go about health differently, and that's fine, but this is definitely how I do. I'm gonna show you how I get some nutrients in me. And I have something interesting to share today. You're gonna notice I'm in a little bit of a hurry. I have a work thing I gotta do, so I only have a certain amount of time. And let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. So in order to get nutrients, and remember, I'm a data guy. I look at a lot of the scientific studies, and basically our body responds best to food. Now, I always talk about this product because it's pretty much my multivitamin, but what's so impressive about this is I just got a letter from them. And this was actually really interesting because I've used different products in the past. I can show you which one I used to use. I got the Still have the bottle. Raw meal from Garden of Life. And you know, their ingredients are good. They're all organic, but I still, when I would look at certain lab tests, they still had certain contaminants. And almost everything does, by the way. So it's almost impossible to find products that don't have any contaminants. And this is my multivitamin. You could put it easily in water. I put it in my smoothie. But the reason I got so impressed with this company and switched was because their lab tests look better than anybody's I've ever seen. And I was thinking, this is kind of wild. Why is their stuff so good? And they're really, really picky. And that's actually the reason that I got that letter, because that letter, they're always testing their stuff. And they found some impurities that didn't meet their high stringent standards. So they ended up having to, you know, like, not recall, they had that some type of delay, they removed an ingredient, something like that. And I thought that was really cool that they stay on top of things. That's why I like the companies that I support. That's one of them, because their products are really good quality if you're trying to get your health right. Same thing for the carbon distiller, best ones that I've found. And the hydrogen machine, same thing. So I kind of do the homework, quote unquote, for you guys, you know, trying to make it easy for people to figure out, quote unquote, health. Now I'm putting turmeric or turmeric powder, maybe not for everybody. Highly anti-inflammatory, anti-cancerous, anti-parasitic. In my opinion, a lot of good properties to that. This activating stem cells, this is just chocolate. So I'm gonna just throw that in the smoothie. See, some people call my smoothie the everything smoothie. And obviously chocolate cacao has all sorts of other benefits too. But activating stem cells is a pretty cool one. And always like that. This particular product was actually just a gift. I believe it has some nutrients, but minerals too. And I'm using it up. I like it. It's good. I should do something with that. This is from rncstore.com. This one you don't have to put in. A lot of these you don't have to put in, but the Purium one, the very first one, it's from a website called ishoppurium.com. And I know that word's hard to understand. It's Purium as in Mary. And that really is the main one. That's the one for the nutrients. This one, anti-cancer properties from apricot seeds, good omegas, why not, right? I happen to get a sample of it, so I'm using it. This is green matcha from Japan. Green matcha, all organic from Japan is the best stuff. I've seen some organic stuff from China. When I saw the lab tests, again, did not impress me. Kind of scared me actually. It gives it a really nice flavor. It's kind of surprising how it makes it kind of creamy-ish. And the health benefits of green matcha, again, also anti-cancer properties potentially. And I believe even anti-parasitic properties. And okay, moving on. Let's keep moving forward. Let me grab my other stuff. Or finish this. And what we're going to look to do, let's see here. You know, what I'm really looking to do is also maintain all these nutrients. See, I always start my powders because this is the only way I'm going to get enough nutrients. I'll be honest with you guys. If I make this smoothie and I make it the way that I obviously typically make it, and if I did not put these powders in here, of course it's not going to be enough. When I say enough, like enough nutrients to really keep me healthy. Just an FYI, you know, it's just not enough. So I have to put, and everything that I put in there is food though, if you notice. Everything's food because the human body loves food. Now, so the tips for easy health, depending on what people are looking for, I showed you those beginning ones. There's a bunch of other little things you can do, from proper sleeping hours is an easy one. Sleeping proper hours is extremely important and really easy. You know, obviously to just go to bed, quote unquote, by a certain time. So that's one of those little tips. Hold on a second. Another easy tip, I mean, there's just a bunch of them. You know, walking 20 to 30 minutes a day. And I mean a designated walk. You know, I don't mean just I walked around the store or something. But there's a lot of little things that we can do to improve our health. Another one is, for example, just eliminating heated oils. So for example, if you like to stir fry, pan fry, deep fry, it doesn't matter actually if it's avocado oil, coconut oil, canola oil, palm oil. It just doesn't matter. These processed oils, when you heat them up, they're carcinogenic in nature. And we know what carcinogens do. I mean, that's literally, you know, the link to cancer, potentially. One of them, right? And so water is your friend, guys. And when I say water is your friend, it's literally the magic. It's when I say the magic, you should be cooking with water, meaning you should be either boiling your food, you should be steaming your food. There are numerous ways actually to cook with water. You can obviously make soups, stews, things of that nature. You don't actually want to be cooking with oil like that. Again, in my opinion, right? Due to the data, but my body's very sensitive too, and I used to feel wrong, like it didn't feel right to eat food that was cooked in oil. It took me a while to realize why. It's one of the reasons I would also get a lot of acne. I just break out from heated oils. My body just is very sensitive to it. Okay, so let's see, what are the easy ones? Because I would say get enough fiber, but getting enough fiber is not necessarily easy for the average person. Hence the reason I make these vacuum smoothies. What other easy tips are there? Let's see, clean water and hydrogen are so easy. I would take, if you don't have the ability or the time to make a smoothie like this, and I showed you those pills that I like to take, but you can also just take a multivitamin, obviously. That's going to be really helpful in overcoming any nutritional deficiency. It's not quite the same with a vitamin, but you have to do with what you got, and you got to make things as easy as possible. If you think you're going to just quote unquote fail, on the health journey. Okay, next one, blueberries. Let's get some of those. Another simple tip, believe it or not, is when you're going to eat a large meal. And what you actually do is, first you do, if you have access, you load up on super clean hydrogen water 20 to 30 minutes before the meal. That right there is going to make such a difference. And then, if you can eat your vegetables first, believe it or not, that makes a difference. And then you can eat whatever you're wanting to eat, your steak or whatever. Okay, let's get a little hydrogen water in there, actually. Again, you don't have to do it this way. It's just that if you have access to it, the hydrogen appears to soak into the fruits and the vegetables and enhance their antioxidant properties. That's interesting. Okay. Next ingredient, let me go grab that. Probably. Where are you? Oh. Okay, these are hydrogen chia seeds. I'm telling you, fiber, guys. I gotta tell you that. And the research and the data and the stuff coming out of Japan, fiber is so magical, and in some strange way, they've been hiding it from us. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but I found some really odd research that was suppressed about fiber from America from a long time ago. So hydrogen chia seeds, good omegas, good fibers, good minerals, good stuff there. Okay, what's next? Now I gotta grab these guys. Okay, running out of time here. Let's keep moving. So this is obviously not the easy one. The smoothie, I don't think it's the hardest thing in the world personally. You just have to designate some time for it. But if you guys want easy tips, and you can ask questions too. We are live here. But let's see, I have always a lot of little easy tips. A really easy one that some people really just don't like is just cutting out dairy, or at least only eating it once in a while. Dairy seems to have just a lot of issues when you're older. People don't realize that your body's changing. And so when you're little, yeah, consuming dairy is what the body needs because the body's looking to grow. Observing nature is a really good example of this. If you look at a little baby cow, calf, whatever, yes, they need that milk because that milk is filled with hormone. It's filled with fats. It's filled with lots of good stuff in order to turn that little cow into a massive cow. But when you observe the cows, when they're older, what are they really wanting to eat? And they know what they really want, and they really want grass, which technically is like, vegetables, I guess you could say. And they really do a lot better on that. And our human body, even certain enzymes that we make when we're little to be able to handle the dairy, but as we get older, the body just, I think it's just too much hormone for the body. And I've seen a lot of that data. In fact, there's a doctor who did massive amounts of research on all his patients, mostly female. It was shocking how dairy affects the female reproductive system and all sorts of hormonal changes. It was wild. He clearly saw the difference, and he released a lot of his research. It was amazing. And he would give talks about it and apparently be able to avoid things like hysterectomies and stuff like that. It was pretty wild. Oh, thanks for all the thumbs up. I just saw that, guys. Thanks you for that. And next ingredient, anti-parasitic also, good nutrients, good for the liver, and that is beets. Let's do some beets now. So dairy is just one of those ones that I think is a good one to just either stop or minimize. You know, I don't eat it very often, but I do. I'll have dairy once in a while, like what I call like cheat days. I will literally go months and months without dairy, and then, you know, I might have some cheat days and my body tolerates it pretty well. And you know, and then I get off of it though. I don't continue using it on the regular. Everything's about your daily habits. That's why at the core foundation, I'm really big on clean water and hydration. And of course, I do drink the hydrogen all the time because it kind of gives me all these crazy benefits the easy way. You know, it's just so easy. It's probably the easiest thing I do for my health is just drinking water. And of course, I'll sit there and inhale the gas. I think everybody's realizing the benefits by now, but I've been doing it for quite a few years. And for me, I hate to say this, but I feel like it really helps me get away with a lot of my cheat days. I was not able to have cheat days before. It would just wreck me. And nowadays, I can totally do it. And sometimes, dare I say, get a little too overconfident. You know, but that's the benefit of treating your body right, is that you can actually do those cheat days and your body's strong enough to deal with it, you know. Maybe I'm putting too much beets in today, guys, but I do like them, so let's go with that. And this vacuum thing is pretty awesome. Ed says, hi there, is the, let's see, what is Ed saying? Is the same beetroot for har a couple of days ago? If so, how do you keep it fresh? Oh, yeah, it is, actually. It's huge. I put it in the fridge. Put it in the refrigerator. These raw beets stay good for quite a while, but yeah, I do keep it in the fridge. You know, a little moisture, cool. I mean, I end up going through them. My produce almost never goes bad because I end up consuming it before it gets a chance to go bad. But yes. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think of easy things for you guys today that you can improve, but like I said, just clean water, just hydrogen and proper sleep, and a proper walk. Just that would make such a big difference. It does make a difference, believe it or not, though, to eat vegetables first. So let's say you're going to have some steak and maybe a little bit of, I don't know, potato or rice or something, I don't know. You know, just a, oh, well, here's another tip for you, an easy one. Is your food being fresh. So that was an interesting study, and I released it. I have a video on it. It was really wild. I felt so stupid that I hadn't realized this, that when your food is not fresh, you know how I realized this? I'll show you guys how I figured this out apparently. And it's a really good tip for everybody out there, and it's pretty easy for the most part. So I know somebody, known this person for a very long time, and they had an anomaly, something strange happening with their heart, so they ended up needing a heart transplant. They definitely never wanted to do, you know, my protocols. A lot of people don't like doing these. Possible if you can share the recipe with the blended juice. Like you can rewind it and you can look at it. I don't technically have a recipe. I just kind of eyeball everything. You can technically go and see how much I'm doing. One of these days I am going to write up a recipe for you guys because people do ask, quite a few actually. But you can just see what I put, and I change it up every once in a while. But this is a super important story, guys, actually. So this guy gets a heart transplant, and the doctor says, well, Okay, so if you want to obviously survive and get through this, you're gonna make sure that you can't eat food that is like so old. Like, I don't even know how old, like once you cook it, you can't eat it after 2 hours or something crazy. And me being the curious guy that I am, because I'm always trying to learn stuff and learn things that we can apply. And then Chris says, thank you, God bless. Hey, thank you very much too, and may God bless you too, my brother. All right, so anyway, so he gets the heart transplant. Doctors say you can't eat something that somebody cooked, you know, so many hours ago. And I'm thinking, what does that have anything to do with your heart transplant? Why would that kill you or potentially kill you? Well, guys, turns out, and that's the easy tip for your health, make sure the food is fresh. Try to avoid eating too much leftovers or processed foods, because they have this type of like, almost like bacteria that's growing. I believe they call it an endotoxin, but it's like bacteria that's growing in the food. No matter what food it is, no matter how much you heat it up, your leftovers, you just kind of don't realize, I didn't realize, that this bacteria grows in food, and so it puts a strain on your body and the immune system. And the reason is because this guy was on specific medicine that suppresses his immune response, because, you know, he had a heart transplant, somebody else's heart put in him, and they were trying to suppress the immune response. But when you're dealing with bacteria and stuff, even in our food, this happens to everybody, guys. Everybody's going through this. When you eat, you know, food that is not particularly super crazy fresh, which is very common. You know, I used to be totally fond of leftovers, you know. And so you don't realize that that puts a strain on your immune system. And that being the case, you want to make sure, you really want to make sure that when you're trying to heal something, this depends how sick you are. For me, it was extreme. I was really sick, but it just depends on the person, on what you're trying to achieve. But that's one of those tips. That's a really easy tip, you know, to just improve your health. It's just to eat stuff that is fresh. And so if you just eat fresh food and you drink really clean water, and again, if you want to take it to that next level, you put hydrogen in it. To me, that is obviously kind of a miracle thing, but there's still other things that are needed for health, including overcoming nutritional deficiencies, which is what this smoothie is all about, but in food form, which is the ultimate way. But if you just don't have time for it, or you feel that you just are going to fail at it and you're not going to do it, then get yourself some good whole food multivitamin. Try to get a vitamin that's made of food if possible. They can be really tricky to find, but for the most part, this is my foundation. And this gives me a lot of other stuff too. I mean, just the amount of fiber that the human body needs and how important it is. I could go through all the functions of that, but I'd probably bore you guys to death. I'm trying to think of like things that are easy for the average person, you know, to be like, you know what, I can do that. You know, I could get some clean water in me. Here's another easy tip. I've told you guys this one before, but that's brushing your teeth without toothpaste, just water, first thing in the morning, okay? I know that sounds crazy, but you do brush the inner surfaces of your mouth. So the tongue, the roof of your mouth, all this kind of stuff. It only takes like 10, 20 seconds. And that makes a huge difference for your health. The Japanese, again, were the ones who discovered that. And notice we are growing some pretty bad bacteria in our mouth while we're sleeping. And when we drink or eat something, we are potentially ingesting these and causing potentially some inflammatory responses. So that's another really easy tip in order to improve your health. Just stuff like that, you know? Okay, how close are we? Get one more carrot in there. Almost running out of room here. And then the whole reason for the vacuum blender, a lot of people are like, why would you vacuum it? Well, it's pretty wild. It sounds crazy. I didn't think it was real. Just so you know, I'm a skeptic, especially for a lot of health products. There's so many shenanigans out there. I'm sorry, but it's gotten to the point where it's just silly. There's so much dumb things out there. And what I can tell you is I thought the vacuum thing was one of those things. Obviously, I'm always open to things, though. So as strange as they may sound, I'm going to research it. I'm going to look into it. And sure enough, this stuff appears to really be legit. So then I go and try it, try to find the best system I can find the system, and lo and behold, when I do it, not only is the color different, it tastes different. the nutrients, I know that sounds kind of wild, but it's like you can taste the nutrients more. Why? Well, it sucks the oxygen out of this thing before I really blend it all up. And sucking the oxygen keeps it from oxidizing as much. And so you're kind of getting, I mean, I actually saw some studies they did a few lab studies or whatever, and they did show that it would maintain the nutrients by quite a bit. It wasn't small. It was big enough for me to be like, okay, I'm making these smoothies anyway. I might as well vacuum blend them. And I kind of love it. Yeah. All right, so that's why I do it. For anybody who's like, why in the world would you do a vacuum blender? Okay, there we go. Now, I think that's pretty much done. Now let's see if I'll blend it, because that's always the tricky part. And it's been soaking in hydrogen water that whole time, which is pretty nice. Oh, thanks again for more thumbs up. Wow. People are being nice this morning. And if you guys didn't hear all the tips on how to get healthy easy, just let me know. You can comment below and I'll try to say some of them again. Or you can rewind. Oh, let's put some hydrogen water in there. Just a little bit more because we're running to the limit here. Yeah, that's about the limit. Maybe we'll make some rooms. Let's first vacuum this thing. So in order to do a better job with this one, I noticed it's better to wet the seal. So I just kind of wet all four corners or four sides to the seal. Okay. So let's start with that first. Then you're gonna watch the water rise when I hit this. So let's turn it on and hit go. There it goes. Oh boy, that's close. I'm gonna stop it. I don't want the thing to suck up water. One thing I can do, I've noticed, so I'm gonna shut it off for a second. I don't want it vacuuming anything while it's blending because it can suck it up in there and damage it. All right, so let's try to just make a little, look how easy that did it. This thing's amazing. Just tore that up. Normally, I mean, I've got some blenders stuck. Maybe you got a better view up here. Check it out. So now what I'm gonna do is suck it again, suck more oxygen out of here. There it goes. Oh yeah. And it's at a level 18, which is definitely enough, but I'm still going 19 and 19, 20, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna shut it off. Okay, now I'm gonna really officially blend it and show you the last magical ingredients that really, in my opinion, help your health. Ed says, McDonald's fries doesn't go bad for a long time. When I learned this, I know good food should start deteriorating. Well, it depends, because even raw honey will last, dare I say, thousands of years. Wow, that's doing a good job. This has Japanese blades apparently, and you can tell. Look at that. My Vitamix wouldn't do that. Okay, let's go ahead and blend it here. Okay, that should be good. Grab some of my magic ingredients for health that are really easy. Just making sure. It does sound like it's still choppy and stuff. Now I remember what I forgot. Okay, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to add more stuff to this. I just remembered something, but I'm gonna open it up real quick. So that means I gotta release the pressure valve. You're gonna hear this. Well, here, check it out. You can hear it. Whoa. Yeah, Ed says, yeah, I got a Japanese blender recently and the blades are so good. Yeah, I know it, man. They're crazy. Okay. Shouldn't do it that way, but okay, let me add. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually pour some of this into my glass anyway. And I'll show you what I forgot because I think they're important. Let's go get them. Let's see, today the taste of the walnuts more, but almonds are really good for you too. To kind of go back and forth. So that's what I forgot. I like nuts in it because good omegas, good fats, good fiber, and just so many good properties to nuts. I could tell when that thing was chopping everything up, I wasn't hearing those hard crunching from the nuts. And then the other one I like to throw in there, you don't have to do this one. This is raisins, organic sun-dried raisins. They give it a little bit of sweetness, which I kind of like. Just a little bit, but it also has natural boron, and I like to get everything from my food, especially my boron. But there is one really good supplement for boron that I like. Okay. Let's see here. Now let's put a little bit more hydrogen again. The smoothie's kind of thick. Put a little bit more hydrogen water in there. Okay, now let's try this again, shall we? Let's try this one more time. And then while it's doing that, I'll show you these other magic ingredients I'm going to add that, in my opinion, are absolutely crucial for health, no matter what. Okay, let's see this again. Ugh. Just spitting out a little smoothie in here. All right, here we go. Almost there. And that's good. Okay. That's at a level 17. See, now you can hear it sound like rocks. And that is obviously our almonds. But they're hopefully not becoming very oxidized because it's under vacuum. All right. That should be good. Okay. Maybe it should be. Let's see what. Okay, sounds good to me. All right. That wasted a little bit of time. And like I said, the trick to opening this up and the final nutrients, and I'm not kidding you, when I say they're important, I just cannot emphasize it enough. This is one of those ones, and it's easy too. You don't have to take it the way I take it. You can just take a pill, take it with food. You could, I get it in the liquid form because I like the purest form, and that's vitamin D. Somebody says, what do you think about hydrogen baths? Did you ever do one in Japan? No, but so there is information about that I've looked into. And you have to understand, people don't understand quality of equipment necessary to do certain things. So before I move on with that, I'll answer that question. But first, vitamin D3, this is so crucial to your health. You have to get, not only overcome any nutritional imbalance or deficiency, but with vitamin D, I mean, I just don't know how to tell you how important it is, especially for your immune system and happiness. Super important. Everybody's been getting sick, I've noticed. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something, and maybe I'm just getting lucky. But man, I'll knock on wood, because I have just been very happy with the way my body's been handling the last 4 years. Okay, hemp hearts. Best, most well-balanced protein in the world. Omegas 3s, 6s, all sorts of amazing nutrients. It's just darn right ridiculous. The nutrients and the minerals, the protein. All right, so that being said, I only got one more magic ingredient, but then that'll be that, and then I'll answer your questions. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna move you guys over here for a moment. Wow. Tastes a little different today. Gingery. I think I might have put too much ginger. Like gingery and nutty, but you know what? I love ginger. I like it, and so many amazing properties to it. The last ingredient, in my opinion, if you want to be crazy healthy, even inhale the hydrogen while you're doing all these crazy things. Let's see here. All right. let's answer those questions, shall we? What I wonder was that the water not be warm. Well, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of problems with hydrogen baths. Not that it can't be done. It's not that it can't be done. It's just a matter of, well, when you use hot water, to make hydrogen, the hydrogen will escape much faster, okay? And so when you're trying to take a bath, if you were to do a cold bath, that'd be different. The equipment, it would very much depend on the equipment, and the equipment will not be cheap. I purchased a machine, wasted a lot of money really, because I purchased a machine, I can't remember, I think it was $4,000 or $5,000. It goes in the bath to make hydrogen. I quickly realized this was not going to work. Yeah, it was waterproof and all that, but you have to think about it this way. Look at the machine even that I use. If you guys need me to move the camera, just let me know. And it only can do 1.5 liters, and it takes half an hour to fully saturate it, and that's not hot water. If it was hot water, it would probably try to saturate in the water, and it would be escaping probably too fast. You would need like a really high-powered machine. And it won't be cheap. We're talking probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I do know something about it. If done properly, is it amazing? In my opinion, absolutely. Doing a hydrogen bath would be amazing, but the average person won't have access to that regularly. I am going to, stay tuned, because I'm going to be making some videos actually about this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to be able to do something like that regularly. And that's coming up, by the way. But what I was going to tell you guys is, I have some secrets in regards to that I can't release at this time, because I was requested not to. And it's very, very inside information in the world of hydrogen. But it's very hard to fully saturate that water, especially at a proper temperature. I would like to have a hot hydrogen bath and a cold one and jump from both. That would be amazing. But I actually have something even better that doesn't really exist. What does hydrogen do? Playa? I see. Hydrogen does a lot of things. I mean, I could go into all the things that it does, and we'll be here quite a while. It might be even easier if I just tell you certain medical conditions that I personally have seen go away in family members and friends and numerous people throughout the years. But the real easy ones that I've seen are like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, arthritis, glaucoma. I had a heart condition that actually went away. I needed open heart surgery for. I've seen people with dementia and alzheimer's and macular degeneration and different eye conditions. I mean, it's such an amazing molecule. We can go more into that in a second, but Gwyneth says, I was watching a blender comparison where the person was saying to put watery and mushy stuff first. You put powder first. Doesn't matter. Seems when you pour hydrogen, then it can touch the ingredients. So here's the thing, partially correct. I've made this smoothie so many times, I know all the good ways and bad ways. If I put that powder in later, it gets stuck all over the blender. It doesn't blend really good. When you have it at the bottom, the order that I do it in, and I put water as I go, because if you fill it all up and try to put water, it won't go through. And there's certain ingredients that I put first and then put the water. If you ever notice, before I put the chia seeds are like a layer of like a suction, like it's almost like plastic where it would stop the water, right? So if you notice, I always fill it up before I put the chia seeds on top. There's a reason. I do it in a certain order, and I let you guys see it live so you can see it's not staged or anything, and you know exactly how to do it. Ed says, so I wonder, if you grow your carrots, for instance, organic, how long should they last before going bad? How do I know veggies are fresh from the market? You can tell by looking at them. No, you can just tell by looking at them, Ed. Dramor says hi. Hey, Dramor. Or Dramer. Or Dreamer. Anyway, you can just tell by looking at them. When I'm at the store and I grab a bag of carrots, I really look at them very closely. You can tell by looking at bananas. You can tell by looking at apples. Your produce is pretty easy to tell. And mine's always in rotation because I'm always making these. So those always in rotation. Some last longer than others, you know, stuff like that. You can call me Dreamer. There you go, Dreamer. That's what I'll call you now. So yeah, hopefully that answers a lot of people's questions. I gave you all the easy tips today on how you can improve your health the easy way. And that's about it. Doing a good anti-parasitic protocol, that's pretty easy that you can do to improve your health. Like the diatomaceous earth. I like that stuff. That's good stuff. Dreamer says, I feel bad for hydrogen. I hope he gets well soon. What? I hope that the cannula is helping. This is not because I'm sick, it's because I'm trying to stay healthy and absorb the nutrients actually properly, and it moves the blood. Remember, everything's about the way your blood moves. I don't know if people understand that, but Gwyneth says, what are your thoughts on plastic? Different kinds of plastic containers, also the blender, the jars, blah, 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 blah. Okay. When it comes to plastic, you can't freak out too much, because if you try to change absolutely everything in your life, which is fine if you want to go down that route, but you can drive yourself nuts. So I tend to want to go for the big stuff. For example, what's the #1 source of microplastics that is getting, you know, how are they getting into our body? It appears to be water. So the water you're drinking, I'm cleaning my water right now through a carbon distiller. I feel very confident that it's getting all those microplastics out. So that's the first #1 source. I'll go after the big stuff and not sweat the small stuff. We'll see if, I don't know what's wrong with the internet here, but so as far as plastic, the biggest concerns actually are heat and plastic. So Marcy says, we lost you. I don't know, we'll see if I'm back. So if I have carrots in a plastic bag, I'm not worrying about that. I'm not gonna sweat that. That's like no big deal. But heat or something that sits in plastic for a long time, for example, like water sitting in a plastic jug at the store, going through trucks that are carrying the water, and so much heat depending on where they travel to. Haven't you ever noticed that these bottled waters taste like plastic? You can taste it, you know. And of course, Dreamer says, yeah, water stored in plastic bottles that get exposed to sunlight is not a good idea. I agree with that. So that's why I make my own water. I don't want to go and get it from the store, you know. So that's one thing. I would be worried about when I say hot beverages. So for example, like Starbucks, they give you a paper cup, but it's lined with this like plasticky material. It appears to have PFAS in it, by the way. And then people pour hot coffee into it. So that heat with that plastic, I mean, you see what fire does to plastic. It like melts it and gets it into the liquid. Those are the things that I'd be worried a lot about more. But the science of polymers, which is obviously the science of like different types of plastics, it really is kind of interesting and fascinating. I just thought all plastic was bad. There are really high grade plastics. Like if you've ever looked at what they put food grade hydrogen peroxide in what type of container, because that stuff will burn and melt all sorts of crazy stuff. You know what kind of containers they put them in? Breeze of Peace says, how much chia seeds do you in the smoothie? I'm assuming she means do I put in the smoothie. How long did you soak them? Do you like flax seeds? Yeah, I put flax seeds in there almost all the time, but I run out. I don't measure the amount of chia seeds, probably half a cup, you know, but when they're filled with water, they really plump up. I've shown how to make them. I have a video on how to do it. And they only need to soak up the water for maybe 20, 30 minutes, but I usually put them in the fridge and I continue to use, I make a batch of it. I go through it probably every 3 days. And chia seeds are so amazing for you. I'm very, very happy with those. And flax seeds also. Martine says, how much do you inhale? So you do in the morning and then do you do it again? Yeah, I literally set up my machine here because I eat right here. Anytime I'm eating, I'm inhaling. If I'm on the computer doing something, I'll try to sit here and inhale. I just try to inhale as much as I can, but I think a good number is 90 minutes at least. And of course, it depends on the type of equipment you're using. I'm sure you understand that, but if you don't, there is hydrogen out there. Somebody just asked me today, in my personal opinion, any device that uses like lye or sodium hydroxide, which makes Brown's gas, in my personal opinion, is like the worst hydrogen there is out there. And somebody was asking about that. I've used it before, made me sick actually, which is like, what is this? You know, and then of course I researched it. I'm like, this is nuts. The medical data is behind molecular hydrogen, not other types of hydrogen. And other types of hydrogen have been shown to be bad for you actually, like deuterium, for example. So you really got to know your hydrogen, and we are talking about molecular hydrogen specifically. If you're inhaling the proper kind, and it's really, really clean, which is like real medical grade stuff, then that's the amount of time I would inhale it for. If it's not made the right way or it's cheap stuff, I just caution people. I always tell people, you know, people do whatever you want. You know, I'm not a big like pushy person, but I don't like when people get sick, and don't try to cut corners when it comes to your health. Like, oh, I'll buy the cheaper vitamins or I'll buy the cheaper products. Be very careful with cheap stuff when it comes to water filters, hydrogen, stuff like that. Some of them are okay, actually, like reverse osmosis. It's not the best, but it's cheap. Better than drinking straight tap water, I'll tell you that much. Okay, Breeza P says, can you overdo the inhalation? In my opinion, if you're doing very, very clean inhalation, in my opinion, no. You can't overdo it because your body already produces a bunch of hydrogen. If you get too much, you're literally just exhaling it or off-gassing it. In my opinion, no, you can't. But you know I don't give any medical advice, so. Let's see here. Martine says, can you use eye mask with your machine? An eye mask? I don't know what you mean, but if you're talking about me putting like an eye mask on while I'm inhaling, yeah, I could do that if I wanted to. This came out good. All right. Any last questions, guys? Thanks for all the thumbs up. I mean, I got 10, which is not much. There's 19 people in here. We should have at least 19, but okay. And it's so easy, right? But click right here. Let me grab some more smoothie. If you guys have any last questions, you're welcome to ask them, and I'll try to answer them here before I go. Okay, I'm gonna put hemp hearts again. I'm definitely filling up on my nutrients this morning. Lots of fiber, lots of minerals, lots of protein, lots of water, really, which hydration is super crucial for health. The special eye mask for hydrogen. Oh yeah, you can do that if you want. Yeah, I mean, you can do that if you want. Again, as if your equipment's safe, you know, I think that's what makes a real big difference. Let's see. Gwyneth says, thanks for sharing the input. I have been looking for water distillers and filters. Can you say more about how the way the steam is routed? You mentioned when they actually tested different distillers, they realized some are doing a better job at distilling than others, and it's kind of like odd actually, because you're like, it's just distillation, it should all work the same, but it doesn't. And so they realized, let's see, Ed says, you need to explain the dots on the right-hand corner, Greg, for the thumbs up. I know, it's all good. So when Okay, here's the difference in regards to distillers. When nature is distilling, the water's going upwards and it has a certain amount of distance. The higher it can go, the more impurities it leaves behind. A distiller can't do that. A distiller can only go up so much because it's inside a machine. So they route it, you know, in different ways to leave those impurities behind. So that's why, like, you know, I choose the ones from the website mypurewater.com. They're American made, they're actually lab tested stuff. I always go for the good stuff. And it's only a few $100s more than like a cheaper Chinese one, in my opinion. Sauerkraut says, dang, I missed today. It's no big deal. You can rewind sauerkraut and check it up. There are some little dots on your top right screen where you go and give it a thumbs up, by the way, for whoever wants to do that, which would be nice. Hey, the Lourdes machine does not have an eye mask. That's right. I think they're developing, because they're really big on lab testing, so you have to make sure the stuff actually works. A lot of people just add stuff and they don't really actually lab test it, and so and also for safety reasons. So I heard that the Japanese are developing all sorts of like what's the word I'm looking for? Attachments for the device. So, you know what? Stay tuned. I'm sure they'll probably release it on their site or something. Sauerkraut says, does hydrogen regulate hormones? I've been meaning to ask that. In my opinion, it helps with it, yes. But it's difficult when you continue to ingest more and more. But in my opinion, like as far as hormone is concerned, I try to go without hormone as much as possible. And then I'll have cheat days. So I avoid, you know, dairy, eggs, meat, anything that has hormone, as far as like, you know, a product like that. And then when I have something, you get a real boost. Like if I have some eggs, boom, you really get that boost. The body's interesting like that. You don't want to just give it all the time, in my opinion. It's good to shock it sometimes in a good and positive way. Kind of like you shock it in a sauna with the heat, or shock it with cold plunges in the cold, stuff like that. Okay, guys. Again, any last questions? Otherwise, I'll gonna get going here. Okay, I don't see any. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the thumbs up, all the support. Appreciate all that. I'll see you guys next time on the next one. Oh, whoops, hold on. Sauerkraut says, can you add an external bubbler to the part where you use a cannula to bubble into a foot bath? No, it doesn't work like that, because love the house, very beautiful, says Pablo. Thank you. It's not mine, but thank you. Looks cool. So the machine, when you're making hydrogen correctly, you don't actually bubble it somewhere else. That's not the way hydrogen should work. The container that you're producing it in, so the pitcher that I have, obviously the machine, it's already doing it inside the actual machine because of the nano bubbles, the whole process of how to make it. You know, once you start bubbling it, it wouldn't work, in my opinion. I mean, you could add a pump to it or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I would just make the hydrogen water and just pour it in a foot bath and just put your feet in it if you wanted to do that. Okay, guys, until next time.